This banner is all about hidden gems, and there are some interesting ways you can use all of these units. We're going to talk about them, but first I want to know, who are you most excited for? I'd love to hear it in the comments. Let's get to Brave Eirika, though.
I will be your lance.
Brave Eirika got a really interesting refine. She has slaying, effective damage on calves and armors. You have plus 10 in combat. You have 40% DR, which doesn't really matter. You have full null follow-up, which is kind of rare right now. And then you have a whole bunch of debuffs that normally end up at 9, as well as a lull attack speed and defense. That's nice. That is a solid weapon. The interesting thing is with Moonlit Bangle, and what this does is adds true damage to your hit, including an AoE, and that is incredibly valuable. On top of that, you also get Canto and Null Guard, and those are really interesting, but they're not quite powerful enough to stay relevant in today's meta, and we're going to talk about why. Let's talk about the only use case I have for this unit, and you could probably make an argument for this unit as a Gale Forcer. I just don't think she quite cuts it here, and I think this is the biggest thing. Now, I've got her on defense, but understand that this is really saying anytime you want to melee nuke, this is a unit that can do it. And I've got Blazing Flame on there, but you notice I've put Momentum 4 instead of her preference, and that's disappointing. So, I mean, what do? Power creep comes along and takes away some neat things like preference skills. I mean, the other thing is, once you take that away, you do have some interesting attuned slots that you can put in there. Not now, but maybe in the future. But that's for die-hard fans. This is all something that you can pick up in this Holo Forms. Momentum 4 is going to be a mainstay for a bit because of how neat it is. Inside attack speed, I know there are a ton of creative things you can do in that C skill, but that is still the most reliable way to get stats and use them to hit the enemy. In particular, buffing attack and speed in both in combat and visible is incredibly valuable for this unit that you're trying to stack up attack on so that you can get a stronger AoE. We're going to talk about the sims, but where this unit excels is going up against Omni tanks. This unit really doesn't touch shield fighters, so just keep that in mind as we're going through this. So what we've got here is Eirika going up against some pretty standard units that you'll see on offense that you'll need to destroy. The Tamara and Ike matchups are huge, and essentially what we're creating here is the Sigurd we have at home. And that's not a bad thing. Sigurd is an amazing unit. If you add in something like the Sigurd Seal, then you also have extra movement, which again is incredibly powerful. But the thing that you want to see here is units like Edelgard and Asker. She just doesn't cut it. The reason I have Edelgard there and no one else, and the reason she's surviving at 3, and I'm calling that a bad thing, is Edelgard is kind of, in my view, the very bottom, like the base level of entry for near saviors right now. She does the job, but she's nothing special. And so you have Eirika coming along and not being able to take out probably the lowest rung of near save that is still meta relevant right now. That means, and I had sims for this, but trust me, any other near save with shield fighter, she struggles heavily against the new ones. So that is something to keep in mind. And of course, Asker is a monster. If you haven't had to go up against this unit, consider yourself lucky. Don't take a kill on that unit for granted. Just trust me. All right, I've changed up the format a little here because there was some confusion. Normally I would have 2 builds and then a grab bag, which I would just have random things on. And a lot of folks were taking that to mean that was a build that I was suggesting. So what I've done instead, we have the defense nuke and then another nuke build here. And both of these are good. You have the Verge of Death, Momentum 4, inside attack speed, all of that we talked about. And most likely you're going to do No Quarter. I kept Blazing Flame on there just to remind you what that is, but No Quarter, Ruptured Sky are both fantastic and skills you want to pick up. Then you have the lesser nuke, and this is other skills, but this is still a good nuke here. Attack Speed Excel, Potent 4, Shadow Shift 4. Honestly, for this build, you're setting up to still use Moonlight Bangle, and Potent 4 is just fun because remember, Shadow Shift 4 does not work unless you have Kanto. Then I have a list of all the fodder that you're going to be searching for, and if you are focusing on one of these builds, this is the way to go. If you're looking for just fun fodder, these are all things you can get. Listen, the C skill is just wide open. There are so many neat things you can get there, but we just talked about Shadow Shift, but Breath of Life is always valuable on any unit, even a nuke. Fatal Smoke right now, especially with Marnie, is a big deal. The Insight skills are fantastic, and yeah, we talked about No Quarter and Ruptured Sky. All of these are viable things to get on your unit. If you're talking about the one I like best, definitely the AoE build. I think this is still very usable, and we saw some cases where this comes in handy. This unit does fantastic about the Omni tanks in Arena Assault, so this unit can help you a ton there, or on defense, either way, but I like this build a lot.
That won't work!
So from here, we get a little bit nuanced, and by nuanced, I mean this was really hard for me. All of these were very challenging to build. Eirika is very simple in that she wants to destroy things. Myrrh, on the other hand, is a melee frontliner with not enough bulk to perform right now. The thing is, Darkling Guardian is still relevant because Warp Bubble is so good. I want you to think about all the times the Celica Ring users have just demolished you in Arena, and how that wouldn't have happened if you had a merged up legendary Myrrh. That is something to pause at, but really what you're planning for with this unit is whatever the refine's going to be. If you just look at the weapon, it has slaying, -5 in combat to the enemy, 30% DR, and an auto follow-up. That is sparse. As far as Darkling Guardian, you have +6 defense res, follow-up negation, and Warp Bubble. Again, this is very, very dated. So let's talk about how we can update this. And the problem is, since she has follow-up in the weapon, they are probably going to build on that. And it kind of limits what we want to get on this unit because the refine is going to be coming up fairly soon. The support build is very interesting. And if you are running this unit as your core, this is probably a way you're going to want to go. And essentially this is just res stacking and then using speed res discord and hoping Dragon Roar can help you survive any random hits that may come at you. A 57 visible res in Arena is still very usable, so keep that in mind. If you are max scoring though, that's where you get into the 764 score, and understand that's actually really good. Keep in mind, dragons right now get both the distant counter D skill and the high dragon wall, which is the highest scoring B skill. So that is very, very respectable. But this unit isn't going to do a lot. And we're going to look at Sims, and essentially she can go after the squishy units. And if this is your bonus season unit, that you're going to be able to use her for that, just because she gets the auto follow-up with Godly Breath, and full no follow-up isn't as prevalent as it used to be. But this is not a unit that you're going to stick up front and hope for the best. She needs some TLC. Let's look at the Sims. And this is all in Arena, and this is in player phase. I tried so hard in the enemy phase to get this unit to work, and she just doesn't have the bulk. She's going to need an incredible refine if she wants to have survivability be a priority. And honestly, if I were a legendary Myrrh owner, I would be hoping that you actually get more support skills than combat skills, because I just don't know how long they're going to be good with how fast things are moving. But let's back to this. Again, this really drives home the point, like your squishy units, and I mean, Shez is not that squishy, and neither is Lucina. So the medium squishy units, this unit is going to do a fairly good job on, and it means you're not going to have that point at the very end of the match where you're just praying to God that something lucks into your lap, or you get chip damage. She's going to be able to attack and actually take the Shezes and Lucinas out. The high-res tanks like Leon, she's going to have a little more trouble with. And don't forget that Leon is fairly bulky. We forget about that a lot. And then if you look at Marnie, I mean, any of the high bulk units, she's just not going to cut it. Marnie absolutely demolishes her. It's ugly. So that is a thing. Keep that in mind. But again, if you need this unit for a bonus season, or if you are looking for an upgrade, this is not bad. High Dragon Wall is very, very rare. And yes, Deadly Miasma was necessary and really put her over the top. I have the 2 builds here, and as usual, Harsh Command, Rally Up, all of those are fantastic. We do have Reposition Gate available, but you can't get it on flyers, so that's still to this date all you've got. Dragon's Roar is going to be the special you want, period. Don't forget that she has nothing else. Like, Blue Flame is the only other exclusive thing she could possibly get because she can't have Ruptured Sky. I like Stronghold a lot. I think on her, it's pretty fantastic. It is an interesting way to go. We talked about Speed Res Discord, but it fits a lot with what she wants to do, especially when she's res stacking like she is in this build. For the other build, I like the Scowl skill. As it has been brought up to me many times, the Scowl skills in general have lost some value, so just understand that there are other things that you can get there. It's not a must-have anymore. And you're seeing the Excel skills are fantastic, and even the boost skills are very, very good. And then fortifications would be just for fun. But anyway, as far as the B skill, High Dragon Wall is just so rare and so good in Arena. And because of that, I mean, this is an Arena unit. I don't know of anywhere else you're going to use this unit right now. So that is my priority, but you also have Dragon Scales. Momentum is fun. You've got Reopening, and yeah, we talked about Speed Res Discord. The C skill is interesting and kind of wide open. I played with a lot of things. For maximum killing power, Deadly Miasma really was it. But remember, you still have that even Res Wave D that has Scowl built into it. So that is an interesting thing. For rarity, that's probably what you would go for, but again, Deadly Miasma was really, really clutch in being able to kill things. But if you're going pure support and you're looking for something other than Darkling Guardian, Breath of Life is very, very good. So keep that in mind.
Oh, look, there are fish here.
Ephraim is next, and he's here to hit you with a huge shell or a fish. I'm not sure what that is, but Seafoam Splitter is interesting. Sunlight Bangle is more interesting. And so Seafoam Splitter, you have movement +1, which is really good. Slaying, you get an in combat -6 attack and defense. You get special acceleration, which is fantastic for Gale Force units, and then you get 40% DR on foes' first attack. Sunlight Bangle is really where it's at, though, and you get a clash effect, max of 8. That's fantastic on attack and defense. A dual phase Brave hit, which is very, very good, and 7 HP healing, and then you get the whole forced foes attack thing, which I'm not a huge fan of this gimmick, but I will say in the context of this unit as being Gale Force, it is very interesting. And if you think about the way that you're going to be getting cooldown, if they hit first and then you hit twice, you are, well, getting extra cooldown. If you can survive that, there are some interesting things you can do. And let's look at a couple use cases here. So first we have the Gale Force build. And when you look at this unit as a Gale Force build, listen, this unit is not going to take on Shield Fighter. He's just not. That is not in this unit's wheelhouse at all. But we have a lot of different ways to stop saviors from working. We have Layla, for instance, who has undefended and is very, very good at shutting down opposing saviors. This unit can come in and take out medium to heavy bulk units that he just doesn't do well versus shield fighter units. And that's rather powerful. Another thing to think about, though, is now that we have Rune, if you are using him, this unit can come in on turn 3 and get 2 actions and then proc Gale Force. And that's pretty powerful, especially for how this unit works and how hard this unit can hit. That's not something to ignore, and that is a good way to use this unit. He can be a lot of fun in that way. The other thing I want you to think about, this is the melee nuke build, and I have, like, in big, bold letters, this needs Canto of some sort because you have Shadow Shift involved here. But that Ignis hits really, really hard. I was very impressed. This unit can absolutely smack things, but this is more arena assault or PvE. Still, this is a unit worth considering if he's your favorite. This is a great chance to upgrade him. I don't have any sims on him just because of the way he's used. It doesn't so much matter the matchups. A secondary initiator has a lot of freedom in what they can do and what targets they can hit. So we've got the two builds up here. For an A skill, Flared Sparrow is a really interesting choice and something to consider. If you're looking for B skills, because Sunlight Bengal comes with the unit, I would definitely look at Potent. I really enjoy that, and while it's not going to be as good as Sunlit Bengal, it is a lot of fun to use on him. And then of course Momentum, because we've talked about it, Momentum is fun. As far as the specials, No Quarter and Ruptured Sky are really where it's at. No Quarter is probably going to be the one you focus on, but I did a lot of sims with this unit, and Ignis actually did better. So if you don't get No Quarter, that's okay. Just move along and live to fight another day. This is one of the few units that can take advantage of the even attack wave in. The thing that really stops that from being amazing is that you have to have higher attack than the enemy. And we saw when this unit is on an Aetheraids team that this unit can have higher attack. Like, this unit has a lot of attack built in. So that is a thing that you can get and get some extra burn damage as well as some attack buffs there. Breath of Life is always an option. Insight is always good. And Fatal Smoke if you're going up against Marnie, and let's face it, she's everywhere right now. As far as my target, I really like the Attack Defense Excel. Again, a lot of you are trying to build multiple units when you're going in there. If this is your target, then absolutely you can grab pretty much whatever axe you feel like. And we talked about some different B skills, but if you don't get them, that's just fine. I would prioritize Attack Defense Excel and Inside Attack Res, and everything else, you could move on to another unit at that point.
Aim carefully and...
I want you to look at the amount of text on this bow and understand that even when Neimi came out, this was not a fantastic unit. I've been pity broken by so many of these. She drives me absolutely crazy. And so I entered into a fit of OCD to try to make this unit work some way, somehow. And so here's my disclaimer. What you are about to see is really only usable for the absolute die-hard Neimi fans. Here we go. So for this, if you're just grabbing like stuff for Neimi and you don't want to invest past the Forma, you got Attack Speed Finish, Special Spiral 4, and Curved Shot. And I kind of like the combination of those two. It creates some of the DR that you need as well as some of the piercing. It's a neat way to go. And then Inside Attack Speed. All right, so that's great, right? Then we have the max invest build. And I understand you cannot get echo skills or arcane weapons in this Hall of Forms. Just understand that is the case. But if you're max investing, this is probably a target for you long term. This can kill things. Yes, this is a lot of support, but that's what you need on units right now. I do like Arcane Nestron better than Arcane Darkbow because Arcane Nestron puts out more damage, and this unit needs damage badly. You have Ruptured Sky, which, believe it or not, is her best special right now. Bonus Doubler 4, Assassin Strike, and then Fatal Smoke 4. Keep in mind, this is going to be an Arena Assault. In Arena Assault, you just don't have as much Breath of Life, so all the burn damage is still very, very applicable. And Fatal Smoke 4 because we're going to take out Marnie. That's right, we're going to do it. So, here we are. Even have Times Pulse Echo to pulse down Ruptured Sky and get it off as many times as possible. We have Ursula for Desperation support. We have Piercing support with Cam. And then we have Triangle Attack. So what does this do for you? Which is the question you're all wondering, right? Bam. All right. I'm sorry, I feel very accomplished here. I actually found a way to use this unit and demolish things. Particularly Marnie was tough. Marnie was really tough. I had to cram as much power out of this unit as was humanly possible. The one thing I'll say, I couldn't get both speed and attack into this unit. So Fjorm, I couldn't get there. I tried really, really hard. But everyone else, I mean, this Gnaw is more of a scoring build, and I wanted to indicate that. But Nagi, that is a build right there. Like, that is tough to take out. And Marnie is, again, you guys have seen it. Fatal Smoke 4 is fantastic against this unit. Now, was this unit insanely expensive? This is only for diehard Neimi fans. But this is an interesting template for you if you have an older bow and you need to get them to work. These are skills that you can put together in order to do that. Also, keep in mind we are most likely getting a new arcane bow. But let's bring things down to the practical again and talk about Hollow Forms and how you can get ready for it. So, obviously the upgraded build is pretty easy. Attack speed finish 4 is old, but it's still good, honestly. It's still nice. Special Spiral 4 and Side Attack Speed, these are fairly easy to get. But then you have what I'm calling the Max Invest Prep. So if you're going to be getting this unit and just absolutely dumping resources into her, this is kind of the pre-game that you can do. Doubler bow is nice, particularly with the fact that I'm using bonus doubler on here. You might even want to do the bonus doubler seal, but that's neither here nor there. Ruptured Sky, which we talked about for the targets that you're going up against an arena assault, is really good and something that you want to keep track of. Then you have Assassin Strike and Fatal Smoke. All of this is fantastic. As far as other options, C bonus doubler is really fun. Flash Sparrow is nice. For what we're doing here, it wasn't necessary, but if you've got one of the higher cooldown, well, Deadeye. If you were using Deadeye, that would be something. And then we talked about attack speed finish. As far as B skills, you can actually go Lagoose Friend 4 if you'd like. That's fun. It's not, I mean, it's definitely not as good on this unit, but it's fun. So, I mean, that's the bigger thing. And then physical null follow-up is another thing that is really good on this unit if you can't outsource null follow-up in some other way. For C skill, Pulse Up Blades, Creation Pulse is really good. Pretty much all the pulse skills. Infantry null follow-up is an excellent support, as well as your Breath of Life 4. I threw Firm Kanto Kerm Stomp on there because, I mean, it is rare. And so if you're using this unit on defense, that is fun to have. And then, of course, you have Curve Shot. And Curve Shot is probably the rarer of the specials. So if you got another source of Ruptured Sky, you could get Curve Shot and then go back for Ruptured Sky when a Byleth falls in your lap. Still, remember, this is prep. And in order to do that build, you still need 2 different fodder factories to make it work. Just keep that in mind. If you're looking for the target, honestly, I mean, if you're going for Neimi, if you are watching the video at this point and studying for how you can build Neimi, I have a feeling you're the type of person that is going to look at getting that arcane bow and those attune skills. I mean, that is just, I'm just guessing, but I'm figuring that's the type of person who's still watching right here. And you got to go all the way, right? This is it. This is a great build on this unit. So I keep that in mind. There are always ways to use your favorites, period. Speaking of rearmed and attuned units, I just put out a huge tier list with them. Go check that out. I had a ton of fun making it. Members, you are amazing. Thank you for all you do. Take care and schedule an appointment with your FEHologist real soon.